All right, mini wargamers, because we're not putting this one in the vault. This is the post game to the 350 Corporation and Xalanthos match. Here's the board at the end.
It was a close, awesome game, and I was very happy with the way it worked out. We're still in beta for the rules, so we're going to discuss a bit about that right now.
Yeah,
but yeah, it was definitely a good game.
it's definitely hard at the moment to deal with Overwatch as Xalanthos.
Yes,
Because we have nothing that can break it without shooting you, and so I've got to outmaneuver your army.
Yeah.
Which is what I tried to do.
Yeah. Yeah. With your gravity mines and stuff, there are ways to help.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I agree. Overwatch is tough. Now you didn't bring the assassin this time.
Right.
He could have definitely disrupted my lines. But
Which probably would have been the best in this, just because everyone was tucked in right here.
well, I had 3 solos plus a commander, so the assassin is a good anti-solo.
Yeah.
He's really good anti-squad, but he can also be used to kill solos.
But it would have thrown off the whole group if he had jumped in, killed one of them, and then jumped into a combat with another one. Then you're stuck having to fight him, and then I could have swarmed in with everyone. But
now, unlike the Reclaimers, the Corporation can hold their own in close combat. So if your assassin jumped in and killed somebody, then overran into another close combat, then my recruits are actually strong enough to take out an assassin.
yeah,
Because if you get 3 or 4 of them ganging up on him, then his defense of 7 won't really help, and they'll just
Beat him up.
Yeah, they'll actually get enough because he has no armor. So they're strength 4 in close combat. So
yeah,
and with the commander nearby to dole out some command points. So the Reclaimers have a hard time with the assassin right now. Although we just recently changed one of the rules that you can't engage by running. And
which
so
should change that quite a bit, because that's how I've been killing Dan.
Yeah. So now your threat range is 12 inches, but not 12 inches of going through terrain. We also realized that.
Yeah, I made a mistake. That
Owen wasn't upgrading.
You have to pay for that.
Yeah, you have to pay 10 points. That's fine. We're still learning the rules. So they're actually 50-point assassins if you want them to be able to walk through walls, not 40 points.
Yeah.
So that's 2 guys. That's 2 squad members. That's a big deal to bring 2 assassins with the field. So this game, however, I really wanted to use Overwatch a lot to see if I could hunker down. My strategy worked, and that's where I brought most of my army up here, seeing that there's objectives right in here. And I was going to hunker down. I knew he was going to be able to he's going to outmaneuver me as Lanthos because he's got the range on me. He had a lot of squads. But I was going for Overwatch, some smoke grenades to try to block line of sight, or at least provide me some bonuses.
Extra bonuses, yeah.
Yeah. And that ended up working, even though it was terrifying to see this quickly just destroy guys once you get line of sight on them. Like the squad over here, I made a mistake and
They got spotted
and the sniper, I don't know why, I forgot that there was a squad. It's actually very hard to keep track of everything because there's so many lines of attack.
And they all move around, and you've got to try and... That's what I really like about this game, is because there's more... You have to organize where you are, where each of your squads are, and where you plan to go a lot more than the other games.
Now with the starter sets, I think one of the reasons it feels this way too is there aren't any tanks yet in this. And I don't mean tanks as in... Vehicles. I mean like tanks as in the...
Tough units.
Yeah, like tough units who can stand and who can just jump out in the open and say, hit me, and that'll distract you. The Reclaimers are going to get one, probably in the next wave. Your commander can act as a bit of a tank.
Which is what I was doing.
Yes, yeah. He can tank some hits pretty well, because he's got 5 wounds. But everybody else, even the Xalanthos with their heavier armor, and the Reclaimers, they're squishy. And I did that on purpose.
Yeah.
So that it really forces you to think about where you're putting your guys. Whereas like in other games, as much as I love other games, I love 40K, I love War Machine, but in those games it's very forgiving to people just kind of throwing their guys out, which makes it fun, I do admit, but I was looking for something that would be more tactical that way. So okay, so overall, how is your feel of the balance of everything in this?
Oh, it was fine for balance. I made a few mistakes, like the squad that ended up here, the ones that head up the side, they were just wasted the whole game. They should have been in the middle with
Well, they
everyone
distracted me. They kept me. They kept one of my flamers just sitting here on Overwatch the entire time, just waiting for them to pop their heads out.
And and really the only thing that I think that got me to lose the game was when I finally jumped up and tried to do my attack, dice failed me.
Yeah, they really did. Even though I got that double 6.
Yeah, like I got really lucky and I was all ready. I'm like, oh, I got him now. And then it's just like 9, 10, 11. Oh, well, that's it.
Yeah, and nothing you can do about that.
Yeah.
So when you're playtesting games, you have to be very careful of Is it a rule problem?
Yeah, you can't say like, oh, well, he's overpowered because I didn't kill him. Yeah, no, I just rolled terribly.
Yeah. Or was it a tactics problem, or was it a dice problem?
Yeah.
So with a random game, you got to play a lot of games before you can start to get a general feel for it. There's some things that become obvious, like after seeing you play those games against the Reclaimers, the Assassin just repeatedly jumping through, nothing that Dan could do about that.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing is like, okay, there's an obvious problem there. But I actually thought this was pretty good. Yeah. And people ask, is this how you have to set up terrain this dense? And the answer is, oh yeah.
Yeah. Me and Dan, the first game, if you've seen the other battle report, if you have open streets, you just, whoever goes first wins.
Yeah. So like these sandbags were needed.
Yeah.
Because first off, I love setting up the terrain in a diagonal, because then you never get line of sight from across the board, but you get plenty of long line of sights on diagonals, which is still good.
Because there's a sight right here.
Yes.
You've got one over here.
Yeah.
You've got one going this way.
Yeah, and you want those long line of sight things.
And this way.
You could build it in such a way that there's hardly any long line of sight, and that would make for an interesting game. Lots
Very
of Overwatch,
close combat.
Lots of basically any shooting would be devastating because you're close. And then we put the sandbags down because then you still need to provide that cover to people who do manage to get shot at.
Yeah.
And it kind of give you a place to go, rather than like you're here. It's like, where the heck do I go to advance?
Because it would have been open area.
It's just too much open
area. Yeah.
So ideally, what the terrain would look like, sandbags don't really match dark potential. These buildings kind of do. They do match dark potential a bit because they're just kind of dilapidated.
Yeah.
But the kind of obstructions you'd have would be like broken down cars, or rubble, or maybe a tree's falling over.
A big fern? No.
A big fern. Yeah, they'll give you level 1 cover. But so that would look more dark potential.
Yeah.
But for now, we're using sandbags until we get that kind of stuff.
Yep.
So, any other thoughts about the rules? Anything
rules
here?
in this
Like
one?
At this point, like if you didn't know it was in beta, would there be anything that you'd complain about for the rules?
It's just that it's only because it is Wave 1, the lack of Overwatch or the counters to Overwatch that my army has.
Yes.
And I totally understand, like I've looked at the other things that will be coming, and they balance it all out. But as it stands right now, I don't really have a lot to counter massive groups of Overwatch.
Yeah.
Because my squads can't do it, which I understand why. Like I realize that it would be, how do you determine who and what, and is it how many, and it's kind of powerful like that.
Oh, and overuse Overwatch too.
Exactly.
Because then your entire army could just go on Overwatch all the time. And that would be annoying.
But right now, like the only way I can get into that, when you just sit in that little bubble where you have 4 characters face every direction, is I have to sacrifice guys to do it.
Yeah.
Because there's no way I can do it any way else.
Now, what if you had, here's an idea for tactics, what if you had just kind of kept me pinned in that area and you just went for objectives?
Yep.
How do you think that would have gone?
It was one of the other plans, but then you have your whole force to come out and attack mine, because if I wanted to go for objectives, I'd go for this one, and this one, that one, and then this one. Now, the problem is I'm all spread out now grabbing objectives, and your whole army can go in every direction as fast as I can, but you're not carrying objectives. So my morale is going to get hit, which is why I wasn't willing to do that.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see if people tried that, though.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, a few games won't tell us. And you even have to play test scenarios, too. Like, are there too many objectives, not enough?
Yeah.
Et cetera, et cetera. But it would be interesting to see if one person said, screw this, I'm not even going to try to kill you. I'm literally going to grab objectives and try to stay alive and run off the board. And if you get 4 objectives off the board, that's 8 points. It's so hard for the other guy if all he's trying to do is kill you.
Yeah.
Because it takes you a movement and an action to get one, and then you got to use your movements to get off the board. So it'd be interesting.
The minimum you could do it. It'd be 1 turn to grab one, turn 2 to start heading back, and then turn 3 to get off.
Yeah.
So if everybody grabbed one right away, it would take at least 3 turns to get.
Yeah, and you never want to be completely off, because in this scenario, if your opponent is no longer on the board, then you first off get to do the remaining turns to try to grab as many objectives and get them off.
Yeah.
And at the end of the game, if there's one side that has models on the board and the other doesn't, the side with models automatically owns every objective that's on the board.
There you go.
But they only get 1 point for each of them, unless they take them off.
The other side ran away. It's all ours now.
You know what I actually forgot? Is that this objective is worth more.
The center one's worth more?
Yeah, it was worth 2, I think.
Oh.
And
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I had forgotten. Because otherwise I'd be like, I would have won automatically anyways, because I would have grabbed it.
Yep.
But you didn't know that, so if you knew that, you would have acted differently.
Yeah. Well,
well,
I probably would have done the same plan.
For the rest of the game.
The rest of the game would have been different, but my plan, like, I think that the tactics were fine, other than, like, the wasted unit, but they weren't really wasted because they had a goal. It was really the dice rolls in the middle that got me, and the fact that you had a good, solid, like, shelter there between smoke grenades and Overwatch to keep my guys out.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
Be interesting though. I want to see it. I want to see somebody counter a camper because I was definitely camping.
Yeah.
Or what do you call it? Turtling. Yeah, I was pretty much turtling.
Yep.
And except that now you can actually, it's no longer like before where I just drop a bunch of smoke grenades and it's like nothing you can do.
Yeah.
Now there's definitely stuff you can do with the new rules.
Yep. So throw a few points in and you can still hit them with the commander's shot.
Yeah. And then if I turtled and you're like, okay, I'm just going to keep you there by positioning
like
and then
2 or
grab
3
objectives.
squads or solos and then one right here, one over there.
Because you can grab more than one objective
there.
with the model. The model can pick up as many objectives as you want. So you can have like a couple squads whose only goal is to go from objective to objective. Just the more you get, the lower your morale is. But then even if you broke, as long as you don't move, you get to keep them.
Even if you did it with like the assassin, he's movement
true.
8, so he could just like grab an objective.
Because they have to be 6 inches away. So if you set yours up, your 5 up in a row, 6 inches apart, and use your assassin to just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just that whole game.
Yeah, and then turn 5, you run off the board because he's got a 16-inch run and he just beelines off, and that's 10 points right there.
That's true. It'd be interesting.
That might be a tactic.
Yeah, you should try that. You should totally try cheesing this one up to see, because then could the opponent then do something to counter?
Yeah,
you do
can you stop him from running around?
Can you stop him from doing that with an assassin? Because that's an assassin that you're not. That's a 50-point assassin because you're going to need a phasing to make sure you don't have to go around buildings.
Which isn't that bad. That's basically a squad that did nothing this game. Could have been the assassin doing that, but they did do something by keeping you distracted.
Exactly.
No, I understand.
So it's tough. It's tough to say, but it would be cool. Some cool what ifs or future scenarios for sure.
Yep. All right. So
that's all I got.
Same. We're gonna have to play another game.
Yes.
And stay tuned for more Dark Potential.